What is going on, everyone? I was doing some research for our podcast, Bears Ball Boys, who everyone who's watching this should definitely go check out. We're going to be doing an episode about year two players for the Bears. So we're going to be talking about Darnell Wright, Gervon Dexter, Zach Pickens, Tyreek Stevenson, the entire crew from last season of rookies. And I was watching some Gervon Dexter, and I was like, I might as well get this out of the way. It was my second most voted topic that you guys wanted to see live streams of, and an account on YouTube, which I believe is I'm bearing down on Twitter. I think he's like NFL Film Room on Twitter. Yes, he is. He does a great job of making cut-ups, making these super quick and easy to do cut-ups of a lot of the Bears players from last year in individual games, and he highlights every single player. It's really, really great. I'm very, very thankful if he's ever catches this. I'm going to shout him out on Twitter. Thank you so much for doing this, because now I can run through these really fast. I thought 2 games knockout because Gervon Dexter only played like a handful of snaps a game. I was going to do week 11 against the Lions and then week 15 against the Browns. 2 games that I thought were pretty solid encapsulations of Gervon Dexter's season. So why don't we get right into it? We're going to be starting off with week 11. Again, I think he played, I can look it up right now. He played 30 snaps in week 11, 11 run defense snaps, 19 pass rush snaps. He had a very strong PFF pass rushing grade and a very poor run defending grade. And honestly, that's kind of what his season kind of played out to be, which was surprising given what he was billed as college. But again, let's get right into it, break down every single play. These videos are only like 2-3 minutes long. That was just my bad for not showing the highlights. So Gervon Dexter's here. He's lined up as the 3 tech. He's right in between the right guard and right tackle. This is just outside zone. Again, I don't know how they necessarily coach this. Usually, like, you don't want the guard to get on top of your outside right shoulder and reach block you, but he's going right. He's slanting right towards the A gap. So I'm imagining that's what he's being coached to do. And then Tremaine Edmonds will take over the B gap. And he didn't really do a bad or good job here. He just is kind of in the way. Like, ideally, you'd want to see him kind of establish some leverage, get his hands inside, and really lock out. But again, Gervon Dexter's not the longest guy in the world, which is surprising at 6'6". So he's not really in control here, and he is starting to get reach blocked, which you want to see him avoid. But yeah, just to kind of whatever rep, which you're going to see a handful on these. Like, I'll try to fly past it. I just want to kind of break down everything as it comes. So this is a schemed up pressure where they're going to be bringing the linebacker into the B gap. Actually, again, that's Gervon Dexter's the 3 tech. He's going to try to be occupying this blocker, the right guard, and they're going to make the tackle choose on whether or not who he wants to block, the blitzing linebacker from the inside or the edge rusher coming off the edge. And they do scheme up pre-pressure, right? David Montgomery doesn't really stay in the block. This was a successful pressure, but not really a play to evaluate Gervon Dexter. His job is literally to occupy the right guard, right? Just make sure the right guard doesn't block, either chooses not to block you, which is not going to happen, or has any chance to help the free scheme rusher, which Gervon does a good job of. But again, he's not really trying to win his rep here. And this was a Tyreek Stevenson interception, man. We're getting looks at all the second-year guys, right? Again, Gervon Dexter here as the 3 tech. Let's see what happens. And so on plays like this, you wonder what he's being asked to do. Like, the Bears, it's no secret that they like power guys. They like to, crunch the pocket. Not my preference. Like, I want guys who win reps, win quickly, especially a guy against like Jared Goff, right? You're not really threatened about what he's going to do outside of the pocket. So a lot of times with like running quarterbacks, you'll see defensive coordinators just ask their guys to rush down the middle, keep those running quarterbacks within the confines of the pocket. Whereas Jared Goff, like, that's where he's most comfortable, right? I mean, look at how tight his pocket gets, and he's still making throws within it. Like, that's where he wants to play. So I want to get him off his spot, right? And ask their guys to win reps. But none of the guys here are really doing that. So you wonder, like, okay, are they just being asked to crunch the pocket? Because that's what Gervon Dexter is doing here. And he's being double teamed. And I will say, I get you're being double teamed, and that's a really hard way to win as a power rusher. Like you usually want to get on one of these guys' edges so you avoid the other. Um, but if you are trying a power rush, in my opinion, Gervon Dexter is way too high here. Like power rush is all about obviously your get off, your speed to power, but also your leverage, right? Like which guy's lower? The guy who usually is lower than the other is the one that's able to win the rep, whether that's the offensive lineman holding up the defensive lineman or the defensive lineman driving that offensive lineman into the quarterback. And Gervin's a big guy, right? He's 6'6". I get it. But if you're going to try to win with power here, I just think you got to play lower. Like you can't come here. Oh, sorry. You can't come straight up out of your stance, which you'll see him do here. He comes straight up, right? He's just standing straight up. I think and the guard is doing a nice job of staying real low to the ground, playing with good knee bend. You're not going to get through guys in the NFL like that. Like you got to play a little bit lower. And I know it's tough for a longer guy, right? But I think he has the flexibility to do that. He just needs to be coached to play with lower pad level. It's a reoccurring problem, not just as a pass rusher, but especially as a run defender, which you will be able to see in this game. So he is at the nose tackle here. He's lined up in the A gap. Just a play action play. Again, these plays are tough, right? Because you're playing run. I think he was trying to penetrate the gap. I think his pad level got in the way of him doing that. If you're gonna try to shoot gaps and whatnot, sorry about that. I think you got to play lower. Like you got to get in at least lower, right? I think Zach Pickens is doing a good job of showing what I'm talking about. Like look at how low he's playing. I know it's a pass rushing down, but it's play action, right? They're first taught to play the run and then pass rush, and he is playing with way better pad level, in my opinion. He's the lower man here, holding up the ground. So if this was a run play, he's not getting moved out the ball nearly as much as I think Gervon Dexter could be in trouble from doing, given how high he is. And yeah, I mean, it's hard to win reps like that, right? Like that's why play action is so useful, because you kind of slow defensive linemen's momentum, and you clearly see that's a problem for Gervon Dexter here. Like he just doesn't really have enough momentum to generate a pass rush. Okay, he's lined up as the nose again, and here, pad level, pad level, pad level. I'm going to keep saying it, right? I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this is duo, right? So he's the nose tackle. He's going to be kind of the guy where they're trying to run the ball at, and they're going to be double teaming him. Ideally for the offense, they're way up into TJ Edwards here, right? So one of these guys is going to peel off and take TJ Edwards if they generate enough push at the point of attack on Gervon Dexter, and he's just playing too high here. Like you just can't against double teams. You will not be able to live in the NFL this way. You got to get your pads lower because look, he gets drive right off the ball. Like I get that he's not really like moved out of the way. He does a good job of kind of staying in the way still. TJ Edwards defeats the block, the duo block, and makes the play. But Gervon Dexter's still a good 3 or 4 yards off the ball, which if you're playing nose tackle, I know they're going to try to play him at 3 tech. It sounds like more so. But still, if you're at nose tackle at any point, which Gervon Dexter has the size to do, you got to play lower, in my opinion. I hope there's some reps where you see Andrew Billings next to Gervon Dexter, and I think you'll even get a better sense of what I'm talking about. Like that guy plays super low. Obviously, he's a lot shorter. It's a lot easier for him to play lower, but it's very, very important, especially along the interior, because if you don't play high, or if you do play high, you're going to get drive right off the ball. Then again, are they asked to condense the pocket here? Like, do they have the reign to have a pass rush plan, defeat the block, and whatnot, right? Who knows? It doesn't look like it here because they're all trying the same move. And against double teams, I mean, it's just tough, right? Like, you're not going to be super successful doing that. But I will say, if you are going to try to rush for power, you got to get lower. I'm going to keep saying it. You got to get lower. And Jared Goff makes a bad decision there. So this was a stunt, but at least you're seeing him work some hands here, right? He kind of works a cross chop move where he's going to chop with his outside hand and try to defeat the left guard on the offense. Sorry, I'm getting my directions mixed up because of the camera angle. But you're going to see him try to chop that outside hand and then clear hands by ripping up, right? It's a very common move, and it looked like it was a stunt, right? So is that Yannick, I believe? Yannick is going to kind of try to counter inside and then I don't know if that was Yannick or Dom Robinson. I'm not 100% sure. Sorry for my lack of Bears number knowledge here. But and then Gervin was going to loop around when the defensive end was crashed inside. And that's what you hope to see more of from the Bears. The Bears stunt all the time, right? Like they want to scheme guys open with rushing forward by using stunts and different pressure schemes with just using four. And Gervon Dexter has the athleticism to kind of like teleport his way through gaps and be the looper. For a big guy, he's very, very good at that. And it's not really a skill, right? Like you're being schemed open pressure, but still, like he has the athleticism to, I think, to ramp up the urgency in which your average interior defensive lineman probably couldn't do because Gervin is that special of an athlete. Those are the types of things that probably really stood out to Matt Eberflus and this defensive coaching staff. But let's keep it rolling. The ball got out really quickly. I think on this play too, everyone was fooled. They thought this was an end around. It was a pitch to the other side. I mean, it happens. Yeah, it happens. Okay, this is where you start to see some of the freak athleticism because, again, I think he's playing way too high here. But when you are just that much physically dominant, then even NFL players like Gervin is, he's a special athlete. He can get away with just like bulldozing his way back into Jared Goff. And I know Jared Goff got the ball out, but still, I mean, that was a pressured throw. I think more times than not, it ends up in a positive result for the defense. And that's a good rep right there of him causing pressure with his athleticism, with his strength, just being a better athlete than the man in front of him. Sometimes you can get away with that, right? I think on the interior, it's more important that you kind of clean up the technical aspects of your game more so than it is on like the edge where you're playing in space more. And maybe you can use more of that athleticism. But even sometimes in the interior, you can get away with that. I just don't think it happens as much as maybe it did at the college level. And here he's trying to move. And this is, sorry if I keep slowing this down. I just kind of want to break down in these small videos kind of the feel that I've gotten from Gervon Dexter from watching him throughout the year. And sorry about that. Just going to silence my phone. But a lot of the times with him, he'll try moves and his hands are just like not as precise as you'd want him to. But again, I will say this is a positive thing because for those who watched him at Florida, for those who have followed Gervon Dexter throughout his career in college and whatnot and projections to the NFL, he wasn't trying anything at Florida. Like it was just all rushes down the middle, bull rush, trying to out athlete guys when he did get a good get off the ball. And he really wasn't working his hands whatsoever. Whereas now you're starting to see him trying to work some moves. Are they as precise and as effective as you'd like them to be? No, not yet. But he's still a work in progress. That's kind of the development you want to see him really ramp up his precision with his hands, the different moves he can use. He really likes working this cross chop here, and he's worked a hump move every now and then. But as you can see here, he's trying the move, right? It just didn't really land. The offensive lineman's still able to get their hands inside and win the rep, but at least he's trying. And I think with more reps, more experience, him being, hoisted into kind of a full-time role, which we expect him to do this season, those will start to click together and he'll start to land more of those moves. But at least he's trying different stuff. I think that is a step in the right direction, even though the result's not always there. The process and the things that will lead to better results down the road, I think are there with him. You're starting to see it more. And this is, again, just a power rush. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. I think his pad level's too high. Like you're not going to win with power very many times when you're rushing this high. You got to get lower than even look at Yannick right now. Like he has the low pad level. And I'm not saying he doesn't really have power, right? Like, it's not really his game, but you got to get under their pads to lift them backwards. You think about anything in life that you've ever pushed, right? Leverage is undefeated. Yeah, and these are just like schemed up pressures again. Like he's trying to occupy both these guys, so it will give Justin Jones an easier edge to attack, right? These are just like, and they're bringing pressure with the linebacker as well. This is a zone blitz. They're trying to scheme him open, actually. So again, not really like one-on-one, go crazy type. Like this is all a part of the plan here. They're trying to occupy blockers to scheme guys open for pressure, and you're going to see a lot of that next year, right? In my ideal world, that's always a good thing to have in the back of your bag, right, or in the back of your pocket when you could have those pressures that scheme guys open with only rushing four, but for as often as the Bears rush four, I wish they did have a little bit more talent on the defensive line, guys who could just win one on one. I think in an ideal world, that's what you want, but they keep going after these athlete types, these projection types. Montez Sweat's really the proven guy. So we'll just have to see how the results pan out. Like I'm not saying it won't work. I'm just saying that's not really the preference that I would be going after. But to each his own. Yeah, I mean, what else is more to say? He's the three tech here. He's gonna get double teamed. He gets blown right off the ball, right? They run literally at his gap. And again, I don't know why he's stepping so hard in the inside. Like if this was a run blitz and he's stepping hard on the inside trying to occupy these blockers, and then TJ Edwards is gonna clean it up right behind him. But I don't know what they were planning on doing here. Someone missed their assignment. This was a pretty big run. And again, I just think he's playing way too high. Like he allows the duo block exactly how it's intended to be, right? They're gonna duo right up to the second level and get Tremaine Edmonds, and they're literally running right at Gervon Dexter. And the more he plays, right, because he was really only like a situational pass rusher this year. That's how the Bears used him. The more he plays every down, if he can't drop that pad level, teams are gonna run right at him, right? Until he can stop it. And that's what you worry about him specifically. I always had that word because people thought he was a really good run defender in college, which he was, but I thought that was just because he was bigger and stronger than most college athletes. And that's just not going to be the case in the NFL. It's clearly not, right? And double teams in college even gave him trouble because he plays so high. And that's what you worry about with him. So again, a play action play, these are tough, right? Like you just don't have the momentum to generate a good get off when it comes to defending play action. But yeah, I mean, I thought this was misread. I don't think, again, it might look like Gervon Dexter's in the gap that makes the play, but he's being reach blocked pretty easily here, right? And what I mean by reach block, sorry if I'm not making sense, I should explain things better. Reach block is just when offensive linemen get your outside shoulder, right? Especially on the play side, like where they're running. So your side that's facing, your side of your body that is on the play side of where the ball is going, when offensive linemen are able to kind of get around you and seal you off, that's a loss in my opinion. Like that's what you don't want to do. You want to make sure that you're forcing everything back inside. And he gets reach blocks not once, but twice here. Which again, I think this could come from experience. This could come from, just a bad play. They happen every now and then. But I think in Gervon Dexter, since he's so new to the position and he's being asked to think a lot quicker, I think, and play a lot faster, unlike what he was being asked to do at Florida. You want to see these things click in a little faster as time goes on. I think block recognition, because they're so important at defending the run, interior defensive lineman, is so important. And like in this play, he clearly didn't get it fast enough, right? Because he's just getting reached right away. And I think, honestly, other guys blew their assignments, so it makes Gervon Dexter look better than he actually did anything here. But if those assignments weren't blown, they could run right at him. Again, that's what they're doing. I just think DeMarcus Walker kind of blew up the backside. And again, he did a good job getting off his block here, but honestly, he did a better job of staying outside, right? Trying to force everything back inside. So I'll give him credit here. I think that was better. But you want to see these things start to click a little faster, right? Just literally commit to, I'm going to stay on the outside. I'm forcing everything back inside. This offensive lineman is not getting around me. That's kind of what you want to see. It's almost like setting the edge, but in the interior. Okay, he's the nose here. So again, he's trying moves, right? It didn't land. Greg Ragnow is a good guy. He's a good center, one of the best in the NFL. gets his hand on the pass. Oh, so he makes the deflection here. Good job. And that's also, being that tall, that's, I guess, one of the benefits, right? When you can get your hand on that pass, cause an interception. Very, very good play on his part. But in terms of before the ball is snapped, not before the ball snapped, while the ball is being snapped and the pass rush rep itself, he's trying to clear hands, it looks like, and the move's just not really there. He's kind of just standing there hand fighting, but at least he's trying moves. You want to see him be more precise. You want to see him keep his chest clean, and that's kind of what he fails to do here. So he just kind of gets blocked up, right? But it was a great play to keep eyes on the quarterback, get your hands in the passing lanes. That's another reason why the Bears like these big, tall, long guys, because they can do that, right? Oh, and this was one of his best reps in the season. Kind of the up and over penny school, right? Commit to the outside, recognizing that they're chipping you, right? They're giving you chip help. So you're gonna basically getting some type of double team, and you're gonna say, I'm just gonna avoid all of that chaos, and I'm gonna counter back inside and create a quick pressure on Jared Goff. It almost caused another interception. This was one of his best reps on the season. It's odd they're rushing him, as an edge rusher. Don't really want him doing that all the time, but a great rep nonetheless. He's one of the best offensive linemen in the NFL, and he's working a move, and he landed successfully. Like, he's clearing the inside hand and then swimming right over his inside shoulder. Good stuff. Good stuff, Gervon. As a 3-tech, they're kind of running away from him here. Maybe they're clearly trying to double team their way back. Not double team. They're clearly trying to get this guard to the linebacker because it's a pin pull play, right? So they're running over here. They brought a puller, and then they want to seal off the linebacker. Maybe cause some more chaos. I know he doesn't want to give up the outside, but again, this all comes with experience, reps. Recognize that they're not running at you. Maybe try to muck this up a little more so he doesn't have a free passes at the linebacker. It didn't end up really mattering, but those are kind of the things you want to see, some of the craftiness as, you get more experience and whatnot. I get that he's trying to stay on the outside, though, force everything back in. You like to see that. Again, some of these are when it's just a quick passing reps. Like, he's just trying to bull rush here, but like the ball's out in like 2 seconds. Like, there's not a whole lot to take away. This one doesn't look like they are being asked to just power rush because DeMarcus Walker is like trying to move. He does like a little, the double swipe. That's what I really am curious. Like, what is this Bears defensive line being asked to do? Because I think they know they don't have a bunch of guys that can just like win one-on-one. So like they're always trying to scheme up a free rusher or like do cool. Like this is like a normal stunt, right? Where on the right side, where he's going to try to occupy both those blockers, and then Yannick will loop back inside. And it looks like Gervon here is trying to occupy this double team, so Montez Sweat has a one-on-one. So you got to contextualize, right? This is a stunt, and he's doing a stunt right here, right? Rushing inside, looping back out. They're trying to pick it up. They kind of do pick it up. Jared Goff gets the ball quickly too. Like, this is a good rep. This is a really good rep. I don't really know what happens. Like, I don't really know. Gervon works a move here. He kind of just shoots the gap. Like, he kind of just clears hands quickly. I don't really think he does work a move because I don't see any like hand slapping down. Here, wait, I can slow this down. Play speed. Let's do 0.5. He does. He works a bit of like a hump, kind of like a hump move. I like how he's able to dip that shoulder, though, and then get to his edge. Like, that's the crazy athleticism that's super rare for a guy that size, who's 6'6". Like, that's pretty absurd to get your shoulder that low and stay on your feet. And that's why I think he is flexible. He can play lower. He's showing you right now, like he's bending through an angle at 6'6", right? He's getting pretty low to the ground and is able to clear that block and make that play. So he does work a move here. He's clearing hands. Sometimes it's not always going to be pretty, right? And look textbook, but and just the quickness to kind of pop in that gap as soon, like while he's landing the move, while he's clearing the hands, and really get the angle to create this pressure here. Very, very impressive reps. That's what you want to see more of, right? And this was, I think, honestly, this was even more impressive than the last rep because he is able to demonstrate some of that athleticism that I really do think make him a special athlete. Better run defense. Again, I need to see him play a little lower, right? And most guys aren't going to be able to just move him off the ball because he is that big and strong. But there are glimpses of it, right? Like this is decent pad level, right? This is decent pad level. Do you want to see more extension with his arms? Do you want to see him control the blocks a little more? His hands look like they're not precisely in the inside chest plate, right? That's kind of what you want to see your interior defensive lineman doing. But he's still not getting as moved off the ball, in my opinion. But he's playing too high right here, I think. But again, better. Baby steps, right? Like it's not all going to be perfect. I think this was one of his better reps against the run. Yeah, and this is some of this like the bad college tape or some of the bad college concerns kind of creeping in here where like, okay, why aren't you firing off the ball here? Like this was a pretty weak get off in my opinion. I know they could have been like one of those 2-minute drive situations, which probably was, and they're probably gassed. I get it, but you want to see him have a better effort here. That's just not good enough. Again, trying moves, not necessarily landing him. I think he gets too close. Like before he tries to work his hands. Like he's too like hands are already inside at this point when he's trying to work the move. Like you got to use your hands faster. Like you can't have your hands inside like faking a power. I don't know what he's doing here, right? But like you already lost. Like when you're allowing them, when you're in that phone booth, right, with the offensive lineman, you can't like let him get hands on you inside first and then try to work your move. Like no, like while they're punching you is when you, again, this comes with timing, experience, reps. I keep saying this, but for a guy that's very new to football, and honestly with using his hands as a pass rusher, timing is everything, right? So while guys are trying to get their hands on you, that's when you work moves. That's when you kind of use their hands against them and try to clear your way to the quarterback. But you kind of see his hands are late here, right? Hands are inside right there. You can't start working your move then. Like you're already locked up, and you're blocked up, right? And good hustle, right? Like he never gave up, but that's kind of what you're talking about with the inexperience and kind of just the feel for the game is not quite there yet. Well, you hope he can reach that though. And you know, I'm way more optimistic than I was when they drafted him to seeing now at least he's at least trying these moves. I think again that's a positive step forward. Double team, I mean, just blowing off the ball, right? Like I keep saying it. Honestly, this looked better initially. I think he's playing lower, but just no control there. And he's getting blown right off the ball. They're running right at him. And I do worry about that as a starter. I mean, Justin Jones wasn't a good run defender either. For 3 techs, it's not the end of the world, right? You really want this guy, Andrew Billings, to be kind of your stud run defender. But for a guy who was billed as a good run defending interior defensive lineman, hasn't been the best showing, right? And you do worry about that as a starter. That's better. I see, like, there's flashes, right? Like, you can start off low, and as long as you gain leverage and win the hand battle and end up high when you're already under him, you can get away with that, in my opinion. You just can't start high because then it's just going to be too easy for. And this is, I think, was a better, right? He's low while he's engaging, and he's going to lock out while he's going up, which is fine. Like if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. You just can't start high while you're making contact. Like that's when it's a problem, in my opinion. But yeah, they gave up the touchdown here. They didn't really run at him. It is what it is. Yeah. But I hope that was a good how long we've been going? We've been going for about 29 minutes. So we've been going for about 29 minutes. I think we can run through one more game. I'll try to be a little bit quicker. I'm sorry if I'm breaking down each play. I think just to get an initial feel, you kind of do have to be more in depth. But again, I think the Cleveland game is a better game or one of his better games to kind of break down. Sorry for the ads here. All right, so we got him at 3 tech, a run play. This is better, right? He's not really allowing them to get to his edge and kind of reach around him and seal him off. He's still fighting towards the ball. Um, this was a better run defense rep, in my opinion. They're running away from him, right? So you only can do so much, but he's still being active on the backside, trying to make this play. So he's at 3 tech. Again, maybe Cleveland's not the best game because they do run so much play action. They do run so many type of blocking schemes that try to take the defensive line out of the play with these like fake outside zone plays, but they end up being play action. Again, like I think Gervon needs to have a better plan of attack when he is blocked up. I think he kind of just like not that he allows himself to be blocked, but like he just doesn't try to clear hands. And the reason so many times guys do get blocked up is because offensive linemen just got them dead to rights, hands inside, and they have the leverage. Like you're done. Like you got to try to get on their edges. You got to kind of try to make it harder for them to block you. Yeah, even though I know it's easier said than done, especially on a play action play. But like look at the difference between Montez Sweat, which I know is different against a tight end, but like those hands are always working. Like he's always trying to clear hands, keep his chest clean. That's kind of you got to start seeing that from Gervon as time goes on. But this was a good run defense rep, or maybe it wasn't. I don't know because it looks like the offensive lineman tripped. Oof, oof. See, like this is clearly a drop back pass. I just don't love you starting with your base wide, like you're not coming forward, and it looks like you're trying to play the run here, right? I don't love that. And you got snatch trapped, right? Where he's just going to push you to the ground and pancake you. Not great. Like, I wish you were more aggressive here. Like, you could just fire off the ball, attack his outside shoulder, but he's too late. Like, it's got to be more, it's got to be faster. He's not urgent, right? Like, your first initial step shouldn't be standing straight up. And the knee bend's decent, right? He's playing with decent pad level for his size. He is the lower man here, but like, okay, what's next? Why aren't you going forward more? You can't just stay there and try to push it your way. Like, I wish there was more of an urgent plan from Gervon. And that was, I thought it was a run. My bad. Play action. Again, I'm just going to kind of skip through the play action plays because they aren't the best to look at. Montez Sweat causing hell. Love to see it. And again, this looks like a stunt, actually. So never mind. Yeah, this is a stunt. My bad. Yeah, I don't really know what he's being asked to do here. Again, it looks like they're stunting on the side or doing some of the sort, but like you're just running right into the blocker and like not doing much after, you know. Wouldn't be my choice of a plan of attack of what I'd want my guys to do, but this is a rep where I do think you see the explosiveness and the strength, like the hand pop, like him just being able to jolt this guy backwards with just strength. Like that isn't normal stuff, in my opinion. Like you need to like harness that, refine it, and make sure you see more of that, where that hand pop can be demonstrated by using moves, right? And him knowing where to get his leverage points to kind of unfree himself and win more consistently. But like that's a glimpse of it. And again, he's getting double teamed at the end of the day. It's hard for him to win blocks, win this rep. But I think you do see flashes of that ability where he could be a very special pass rusher if it's honed in the correct way, which he's still learning, right? And he just gets down blocked here. Jack Sanborn makes a good play. And again, they're doing a bunch of stuff to kind of take him out of not him, but the defensive line out of the equation with blocks like this. Like this is a fake run. It's kind of like sprint out option. No one's open. Again, they're running away from him. He's the backside defender. Not a whole lot to take away. This is good. This is a really good rep. This is what I'm talking about. Establishing control of the blocker, right? His hands are inside. Is he playing a little high? Yes, but he starts a little lower than I think he traditionally does, at least to the point we've seen so far. He's locking out, right? He has control. He's established leverage, right? He's controlling this block. He's basically two gapping at this point. He can control either gap because he has control of the offensive lineman. Hands are inside the chest plate. He's got full extension, right? And look, he's already in the backfield driving that offensive lineman back, and the running back has nowhere to go. He can cut it back, but there's already a Demarcus Walker has won his rep, and Gervon Dexter ends up making this play at the line of scrimmage. That is textbook. That's what you want to see, and you did see that at Florida, right? When it's one-on-one, and he can just kind of control blocks like that with his strength, really lock out and show good stack and shed form. And he knows that he made the play too. Little celebration at the end, but that's good stuff. That's what you want to see. Again, trying moves, but it's just they're not landing. But he's trying, right? He's trying. You see him chop that hand down, his outside hand. And again, I think there's a lot wrong with his technique because you don't need to be that square with your like if you're attacking the outside shoulder, you want your entire arm to kind of clear his outside shoulder where he does not have that wide of a surface area to attack your chest. Like you're too close to him right now. Like you want to create yourself more space. Look at how much room you have to work with. Why are you that close to him? You don't need to be that close because then you're just going to get caught and he stays square to you and he's got you blocked up. But I like that he's trying to move. But again, like the timing and I think just making it harder on himself. He doesn't need to make it this hard. Like you have the athleticism to really, really attack this outside shoulder and get into this gap, right? And threaten him with some get off the ball. But I don't know why you feel the need to stay this close with him. And then you see that a lot on this tape. I think that's probably the best way I've articulated it to this point. It's a lot of like making things harder than they need to be. Like you don't want to win in that close quarters, in my opinion. Sometimes you have to, right? But like in that specific scenario, like that is an opportune time to, I think, just to pin your ears back and go. This is an RPO. I mean, man, the Browns have some cool plays, but didn't recognize the block quick enough because if they did hand this off, you're literally blocked away from the ball. Not away from the ball. They're sealing you off, right? Like again, that comes with block recognition. Like that has to be a lot faster, in my opinion, with Gervon. He's not in a bad shape in terms of like establishing leverage, stacking up the block here, but like you're away from the play if they hand off the ball. It's an RPO, so it didn't really matter. But again, just trying to give you guys the full picture. And again, I think it's just more body to body. Like this is empty. Again, obvious passing situation. Like I wish you have a little bit better of a plan here. Like you're standing straight up out of your stance, and he's got you. Like I think there's, unless this is a stunt, which it doesn't look like it is. It does kind of look like, I don't know. I don't know if this was meant to be a stunt or of whatnot, and they're trying to occupy this blocker or whatnot. It doesn't totally look like, yeah, I guess it is because he is kind of crossing back over. This is a very long developing stunt. Again, I think the point of pressure is to make it quick, but to each his own. Again, he's working here, right? Like he's not giving up here. This is the better effort, I think, in better job of just like not staying blocked. And like you see some of just like the raw natural power and strength of him just being able to work back, collapse that pocket. But again, you wish the wins were quicker. You wish he had a better plan of defeating hands. Like I think he starts off too close to the offensive lineman to really work any type of move. Look at the difference between DeMarcus Walker here. Like look at how he's using his space, right? I'm going to stay away from you, clear hands, make you reach for me. Like I think there's like a massive difference between this rep and Gervon's. Like he's using all of the space he possibly has to make it harder for him to get hands on side and giving him his chest. Because if you give up your chest, that's when you lose, right? And he causes a pressure. Like he's moving Joe Flacco off his spot, which I think is a win in most scenarios, right? And that was like a 2-3 yard gain. I think I'll take that all day long. Like if you can get Joe Flacco off his spot, just an example, but you know what I mean? And this is just a blitz. Again, he's not really asked to being teed off. This looks like they're bringing 5 here. So, and a successful blitz at that. And this is a stunt. Again, not a whole lot to take through. It didn't work. They blocked it up well. They're passing blocks off. Again, he does a better job here. He's still giving up the leverage on where they want to go with the ball at the point of attack, but he's driving his blocker back into where they want to go. So I guess that's a win. But again, you want him to start recognizing, okay, he's trying to pin me to the left, to my left, to the defense's left. That means the ball's probably going to the right. Yeah, I mean, I still think he did a decent job. Okay, better of trying to work. It looks like he's slanting a little bit. Yeah, they're all trying to rush on the inside, right? Again, this is like a pressure scheme thing. And they do a very good job. But better of creating some separation, creating some angles for yourself, making it easier. You're still giving up your chest, I think, too much. Like I wish you work a move here to avoid this altogether. You could argue that's kind of a hold. He's got the outside of his shoulders, right? But still, like I think he didn't do enough to really clear hands, but still doing a better job of creating an angle, creating a better pass rush for himself. And this is a stunt. Again, some of the slow developing stuff I can't really stand. What's the point of this, right? Like I get you're trying to loop someone free, but he's got all day to make a decision. I don't know what this was. What are we doing here? This was just like a misdirection. We're gonna start in the Wildcat and then pitch it to Joe Flacco and totally not block. I don't know what that was. Let's just move along. Yeah, again, it's another stunt. And it's hard, right? Because stunts are more about, for offensive linemen at least, passing off the blocks. So like it's hard to work moves if you're a defensive lineman, if you're stunting, if you're the looper, because you're anticipating it, you're going to be schemed open for a free pressure. That's what you want to do, right? And the Bears do it so much that I think teams just know what's coming. Like they're on alert, right? And I don't think they're very successful a lot of the time for the Bears when I do watch their defense. Like that's why having guys who can just win puts that much more stress on the defense because they have to be aware now for the loops and the stunts and guys who are just better than they are, which the Bears only have one of that side of the coin. Again, play action, stalls the defense. Not a whole lot you can do there. Good power here. Again, wish you work some type of move here. I think he's just giving up his chest too easy. He's really rushing down the middle. Like, I get it every now and then. Sometimes that's what you got to do. But you're high here. You're giving up your chest. I think you're making it very easy for the offensive lineman. Same thing. And it's double team, but better. Oh, it's a screen. So it doesn't really count, right? Those offensive linemen are trying to get down the field anyway. All right, we're wrapping up here. So yeah, they're just trying to attack different gaps. Look, he's looping all the way around. Okay, so the jury is still very much out on Gervon Dexter. I don't think anyone would have thought that we would have learned a ton from year one. I do think that there are some encouraging flashes there. He is implementing some hand moves and moves that you didn't see at the college level that make me encouraged ultimately. But I wish you would have seen it be a little bit more successful as the year went on, when I think it was just kind of much of the same. And the biggest thing, along with the more of the precision, the timing, and the feel of when to implement moves, you want to see him grow on as a pass rusher. As a run defender, you got to play lower. You could also say that as a pass rusher too. I think pad level is his number one problem he needs to fix to even be a viable starter, in my opinion, because I think he was very much up and down in the reps that he's played. But I think overall, I'm more encouraged, honestly, than I thought. As someone that was not a big fan of Gervon Dexter, I'm more encouraged that he can really tap into that athleticism as a pass rusher. And as long as he gets the technique down, he can really expand in that role. It just, you got to see him become more consistent and obviously get down the technique. But as a run defender, I think is really where, if he wants to stay on the field, that's got to get better, where he's got to play lower. He's got to play with more consistent technique as a run defender. And if that floor is there, I think he can be a viable starter at the very least. But yeah, I hope this was informative. We can watch more games. I know this was a very long time to break down like 5 minutes worth of tape, but I hope it was a good analysis. And if anyone disagrees with anything that I say, please comment. Or if anyone agrees, like what you're seeing, you want to see something else, please comment, please please tell a friend. Greatly appreciate it. But yeah, until we meet again, y'all, keep it real.